Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Library Talk and everything else. I am your host, DJ JC. Today is Thursday, October 24th, and I am so happy that you're here with us. So happy that you allow me to spend my morning with each and every one of you. So today, we're going to be talking about food, particularly fast food. So join us after the music break. If anybody wants to bring me some McDonald's to get started, well, I will gladly take it here at the studios in Brownsville. You're listening to Library Talk and everything else only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. Good morning again, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Library Talk and everything else. I'm your host, DJ JC. I'm really trying to get another DJ name, so if anybody has some ideas, I'd really appreciate them. I've had this DJ name for the past couple of years since I was on the Feminist Hour. And so always trying to come up with some more creative, but yeah, if anybody has any ideas, I'd be glad to hear them. You can email your ideas, questions, suggestions for shows at libraryguy03@gmail.com. Okay, so we are flying solo today. And there's a couple of housekeeping things that I want to talk about before we discuss one of my favorite topics, fast food. If you had an opportunity to follow the show from the very beginning, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your support, and thank you for allowing me again to spend my morning with you. If you're just finding the show, if this is the first time you listen, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you continue to support us. But I wanted to bring up something because I have had some wonderful guests in the past couple of weeks. I have had and I'm gonna give a shout out to them because they have been so great. And I really want you, if you haven't had a chance to listen to the show, if you weren't able to listen to a particular episode where my guest came in, I really want you to go back and listen to those because there were some wonderful guests and some wonderful shows. All shows will be uploaded onto Vaquero Radio's YouTube channel. So once they're uploaded, go ahead and listen to not only this show, but all the other shows that Vaquero Radio produces. I do want to thank Student Media for their support in getting this show started today, and they help me out every week, so shout out to them. But I want to mention the people that have been on the show because, again, they have been such wonderful and great guests. We had Mr. Jesus Resendez come by and talk about financial literacy. Then we had Mrs. Catherine Autry discuss careers and counseling. We had really a great and fun time with Mr. John Ferris discussing the Twilight Zone television series. That was a wonderful episode. And then we had the Deputy Chief for the Fire Department of the City of Brownsville, my friend Rick Nájera, talking about Fire Prevention Week and safety. Wonderful show as well. So all these shows have been wonderful, have been great. They will ultimately be uploaded onto the YouTube channel. So when you have a chance, go back and check them out. And we'll be having some of these guests come back to join us in a couple of weeks. But today, again, we're going to go solo, and we're going to talk about different restaurants, the history of restaurants. You know, we have a research question every show. Every episode, we have a research question. And we're going to go over that, and we're going to try to answer that research question. It's something that guides the show. It's something that moves the show along. If we don't answer it, it's a wonderful question to go back and look at. It's a opportunity to do further research. So we'll go to that question in a bit, but I do want to say something that I feel I have a responsibility to discuss, and that is voting. I'm not here to take a particular stand on any particular issue, or we're going to talk about a particular politician or party or anything like that. But I have this medium, and anybody that has an opportunity to promote and talk about the importance of voting, I think they should take it. So this is going to be my thing. We have a very important election every 4 years, and it happens to be this year that we're voting for a president. And we have this opportunity. We have a voice. We have a vote. Our vote is our voice, and our voice is our vote. We have an opportunity to select these leaders that are going to be guiding us in the next couple of years. And I talk about that, and I bring this up because the very first episode where I introduced what the show was about, we discussed the responsibility of research. This is a show that, even its very name, library research and library and everything that comes with it. Library talk and everything that comes with it. But the focus is on research, and we advocate research. We want you to be responsible researchers. And I mention that because I know a lot of you will be possibly voting for the first time. My daughters will be voting for the first time, and they're excited about it. And I tell them, when you go to the ballot, and again, I'm not telling them who to vote for, but when I do talk about voting with them, and with anybody that'll we can have a conversation about, what I try to stress to them is not, again, who to vote for, but I want them to look at who it is that's running. Be that responsible researcher that goes out there and looks at these different politicians, and do these individuals represent your values? Do they represent who it is that you are going to support? What are their issues? What are they going to bring when they're elected? A lot of times, and I had brought this up a couple of years back when I was on my other radio show, The Feminist Hour with Dr. Solis, we had talked about voting, and we had mentioned that it's not always about going with the trends. Oh, it's my first time voting. All my friends are voting for this particular person. I'm going to vote for them too. Social media is telling you to vote for this particular person. I think I'm going to vote for them. TikTok is telling me, oh, you know what? This is who I'm voting for. I'm going to vote for them. But behind it is you as a responsible voter. And there are some things on the ballot that you may not know much about what that responsibility is. What does a railroad commissioner do? What are some of these other people in these positions that I'm voting for? Go online, look them up, look what their responsibilities are going to be, look what they're going to bring once they come into office. Do you align yourself with them? Do you agree with them? Is it somebody that you want to vote for? Because these people are going to be in office for several years. And we want to make sure that this person is going to represent us, our values, our interests in the best way that's possible. And a lot of times what gets lost in a presidential election are the local elections. Every election is important. And everybody running has done their due diligence to be on these ballots. They've worked hard. They've gone out there. They've done their part. And they're waiting for us to vote for them. But along with that, we also need to see what is it that they stand for. So it's not just, oh, well, all my friends are voting for this particular person. That's who I'm going to vote for. You don't have to go with the trends. Look their information up. And when you do, talking about responsible researching, when you do go online, look at their official website. Where are they at? You don't want to follow somebody's blog. You don't want to follow somebody on TikTok. You don't want to follow just anything that's out there online. We hear a lot of noise, and that's unfortunate because a lot of things are going around on social media about this particular politician, about this person, about that person. Falsehoods, misinformation. And we talked about that too in the very first episode about misinformation. And so it's important that you, as a scholar, as a researcher, as a voter, you make sure that you are informed and that you are aware of what the responsibilities are going to be and who is best to fit that responsibility. I wanted to talk about that, and I know we talk about all sorts of different things. I mean, we're talking about food today. We talked about the Twilight Zone. But I needed to talk about this because we have an opportunity to tell you about the importance of what is at stake. So early voting is going on right now till November 1st, and then it'll stop, and then the general election will be on the 5th. You have opportunities. Look at the polling places. Look to see where it is that best would fit your voting needs, and go out there. And I want to finish with this. We cannot be cynical. Cynicism is such a negative thing. We cannot think, oh, well, they already know who's going to win, so I don't need to vote. Oh, it's all made up. It's all fake. No. The people that are working these polls are doing a wonderful job of keeping everything on track. We cannot think of the attitude of, oh, well, they're not going to help me. No, they are there to help you out. It's our responsibility. It's our voice. It's our vote. So I just want to wish everybody just a wonderful voting season, if that's such a thing, and really look at where we're at, where we want to go, and where you want to go. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes lost in the presidential election are the smaller local elections. And not that I'm saying smaller in any way, but sometimes it doesn't get as much attention. And I think we need to look at those people as well, because those people are going to have an immediate impact on our communities, on our lives, in where we live. So if you've already voted, great, good for you. If you have not, then I highly recommend that you look into where you can vote. And again, do your research as to who would be best that you think would support your values and where you want to go moving forward. All right? Okay. So with that said, we're going to take a music break, and I hope you come back. I know we got a little serious there, but I do want to mention that because I think, again, we have a responsibility to discuss that. So think about it, and we'll take a music break, and then we'll come back, and we'll talk about food. I'm still waiting for somebody to bring me some McDonald's, but we'll see you in a bit. Again, you're listening to Library Talk and everything else only on Vaquero Radio. Again, thank you so very much, everybody, for joining us after the music break. We were talking about voting, and so I wanted to mention that, and hopefully you are considering it if you hadn't, and go to a polling station, polling station, and again, your voice is your vote, and your vote is your voice. Okay, so as with every week, we have a research question, and today's research question is: what are the influential societal norms around fast food consumption, and how have these evolved over time? Again, we use a research question to guide us throughout the episode. Before we get to those, I want to give you two different scenarios. I want you to think about these scenarios. The first scenario is that you are a young college student. Your parents gave you $20 for the week. You're in class, and your friends are talking about going to get something to eat afterwards. You have a class maybe about in an hour and a half. Your next class is going to start. So, you have time, you have money, and at least here on the Brownsville campus, there's really not much to eat as far as fast food. There is a McDonald's across the street on the other side of the campus. Now, on the Edinburgh campus, you have a veritable pick of restaurants, from Jack in the Box to Cane's to all sorts. If you are going to cross the street, please be careful, because it is one of the main thoroughfares out there in Edinburgh. So, you are a young college student. You don't have that much money. Your parents gave you $20 for the next couple of days. Your friends are talking about going to McDonald's. So, you get your $20, you cross the street, and for $5 and some change, you're going to be able to eat, have fun, talk to your friends, hang out for a little bit. You want some dessert? It's there in the same place, an ice cream, an apple pie. You have not spent that much money. You can go back for dinner. You can go back the next day. But it's there, and it's easy, and it's quick. And so the next day you go back. And the next day you go back. And again, you have an opportunity to socialize. You have an opportunity to be with your friends. And then after that, you go to class with a full stomach. Maybe not the most nutritional food, but you ate well for $5. The next scenario: you're a parent. You're a parent, and you won $20 in the lottery. You know, you played a scratch off. You won $20 in the lottery. It's your money. It's a Friday afternoon, and your partner, your spouse, calls you. You're like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like cooking tonight. I don't want to clean up. I've had a long week. Why don't you pick something up? Why don't you pick up some pizzas at Little Caesars? Why don't you pick up a box of KFC? It's on the way home. And you're right. You don't have to clean up. You don't have to cook. And so what do? Your $20 that you had saved up for your own thing, for what you wanted to buy, for Juan money, and now you're going to use it for dinner. And you can buy dinner for 4 people with $20. 2 pizzas from Little Caesars, a bucket of chicken. So what are they doing to us? What are these restaurants doing to us? They know that it's been a long week. They know it's been a long day. They're on the way. It's easy. So what do? They keep promoting themselves online, on television, on the radio. And we're going to talk a little bit about the budgets that a lot of these companies use and a breakdown of how much they spend advertising. Because they've got us. They've got us. You know, McDonald's right now after this radio show, hey, that sounds good. It's lunchtime. So they've got us. And so I wanted to put you in those 2 different scenarios because they're going to come up right now as we start breaking down the different societal norms. One of the things that has become so easy is us being able to get food conveniently without even having to go to the restaurant. Food delivery services such as, these apps, such as DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub. One of the things about this show that allows me the opportunity is to go down these rabbit holes as a researcher and find out more about these different companies and different topics that we talk about. And so I went down this rabbit hole and I did a little research on how much these companies are worth. I wanted to know, how much is DoorDash worth? Because here we are ordering food via an app. And somebody, a stranger, is going to pick it up for us and bring it back to our house. That's a lot of trust. That is a lot of us to ask for somebody that we don't know to go pick up. I mean, we're paying them, but, we're asking somebody to go pick up food for us. It's become that simple. It's become that easy. Drive-thrus, ordering through the app and just getting off and picking it up. And all the restaurants are doing it. Chick-fil-A, Burger King, McDonald's, all the big players are involved in these different things. They've got us. So just a couple of facts and figures, rather. As of October 2024, DoorDash is worth $61.67 billion. Uber Eats is worth $20 billion, but Uber Eats is kind of goes under the same company as Uber. And Grubhub is worth $7.1 billion. That is a lot. I remember talking to a colleague of mine when this whole thing about DoorDash and all that started. And he's told me, this is the last time I used DoorDash. I paid $18 for a Big Mac meal to be delivered to my house. Hey, but again, it's convenient. It's there. And it's so readily available through our apps. They make it too easy oftentimes. It's too simple. So let's start looking at some of the societal norms. And we're going to look at socialization first. These fast food vendors are so popular for social gatherings, and it normalizes the way we eat and the way we connect with our friends. It's a place to hang out. It's clean. It's friendly. It's an environment where we can sit down, sometimes for hours on end, and have a conversation, enjoy a cup of coffee. We sometimes just need noise. There was a coworker that I worked with, obviously, right? I worked with a colleague of mine who she would tell me that in the evenings she just liked to go to Whataburger by her house and just sip on a coffee and read a book. And she liked the noise. She liked hearing people and the voices. You go to any restaurant early in the morning and you'll see people, just this group of same people over and over again gathering to socialize. I was watching this biography, again, going down the rabbit hole. I was watching this biography of the McDonald's company and its founder, Ray Kroc. He stated that one of the things that he was so intrigued by about the restaurant, McDonald's, was how many families he saw there. And he wanted it to be a family type environment rather than a place for teens to be hanging out and causing trouble. And people enjoy going to eat. It's a deviation from the norm. There's so many memes about, oh, we have food at the house. But there's something about going out to eat or picking something up, again, because we don't have to maybe clean up. We don't have to cook. We don't have to worry about that. And it becomes very easy. Values and promotions. And this value perception that we have that what we're eating, it's inexpensive. And we know that it's not the healthiest. But we continue because these restaurants are, giving us these affordable meals. And it makes it attractive to go out there and buy a box of chicken rather than, have to go and set up a meal. So the attractiveness of having to do that, we're attracted to just saying, hey, you know what? It's right here. And they use these colors, these reds and these powerful colors to grab our attention. I came across a quote that said that children seem to recognize the McDonald's M more than they recognize the cross. Because these restaurants are everywhere. And again, they make it so easy for us. We get coupons in the mail. Coupons the other day of KFC, Subway, Jack in the Box. And what do? Hey, this is a pretty good deal. I'm going to go pick something up after work, for lunch, excuse me. These online coupons that are also available, these apps that have all sorts of deals that are not available in store. I talked about this earlier about these $5 meals from these different restaurants, and it seems like Wendy's has their own version of that. McDonald's, Burger King. Wednesdays is Whopper Wednesday. I love the alliteration there. Again, trying and vying for our money and for our business. Pizza Hut with all their deals. Little Caesars with their pizzas for $6.50. KFC, and again, went down this rabbit hole. You have, and I have it right here. I have the coupon right here. A $20 box has 6 pieces of chicken, 4 biscuits, and 4 sides. That is enough to feed a family of 4 or 5. This cultural acceptance that fast food, it's integrated in our culture and practices and celebrations. How many times have you gone to McDonald's and a child is having a birthday party there? I know I was the recipient of some birthday parties, and so were my daughters, of these restaurants, Burger King, McDonald's. And we use these restaurants as a place to hang out, as a place to meet. Sometimes you'll walk into a restaurant and, there's a group of people, a study group or a Bible study group. Or again, that group that is just there to enjoy each other's company while drinking cups of coffee. It's a safe environment, good food, good people, friends. It's a place to meet. So that's why we continue to go. Now, when we mentioned food, I wasn't really going to focus too much on other restaurants because that's different. But I wanted to really focus on fast food. Because going to a restaurant is a wonderful experience when you sit down and somebody comes and waits on you. But in fast food, it's just go through a drive-through. You sit there with your friends. You sit there by yourself with a book, with a magazine. It's your time. It's time with your friends. And if we continue looking at the societal norms, advertising, this aggressive marketing targeting children and adolescents. It's cool to go to McDonald's as an adolescent. It's cool to go with your friends. For children, it's an escape. You get to go to the play area. You get to go to the playground. The parents are doing their own thing. Your kids are running free, on the playground. And so these perceptions, they shape that fast food is desirable, it's trendy, it is the in thing. And these restaurants keep opening up. And so, again, I started to do my research and I came across this. The average marketing budget for a restaurant is typically around 3 to 6% of its total sales. And again, this can vary depending on the size of the restaurant, the location, the type of cuisine. Obviously, a fine dining establishment in a major city is going to have a higher marketing budget. But an example of a marketing budget, and this I got online, excuse me. 20% for online advertising, 15% for print and radio ads, 10% for social media, 5% for PR and brand awareness, 5% for direct mail or email marketing, 3% for events or sponsorships. You see a lot of local events sponsored by some of those restaurants, Cane's, and some of these other ones are supporting a lot of Chick-fil-A. There's a lot of sponsorships of things. And 2% for loyalty programs and customer rewards. And that's so great as well, right? What is the feeling like when you have finally reached on that card that fifth sandwich and you're going to get the sixth one free? That's a great feeling. You're holding on to that card for your dear life. From a web article published in December 2022. It's called Restaurant Marketing Budget for Restaurants. According to the Statista, McDonald's spent approximately $388 million on advertising worldwide in 2023, using social media, radio, internet, television, and billboards. We talked about this a couple of weeks back. We discussed how the Super Bowl and their marketing, and they're so expensive. But if you watch some of those Super Bowl commercials, McDonald's is right at the top of their advertising. They have the resources, they have the budget, they have the money to do that. And again, we keep going back so they know what they're doing. They know how they've got us. And so when we come back from the break, we're going to take another music break. When we come back, we're going to look at how two brothers from New Hampshire revolutionized the way we eat and consume. Join us after the break. You're listening to Library Talk and everything else, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. Thank you so much again for joining us here on Library Talk and everything else. So we came back from the break, and we talked about how two brothers from New Hampshire revolutionized the way we eat, consume, and continue to spend money on fast food. So Richard and Maurice McDonald left New Hampshire to move to California, to Hollywood, California in the 1920s. They worked as set pushers in different Hollywood studios and decided to purchase their own movie theater. They wanted to make it big. And so they thought, you know what? Instead of working behind the scenes, let's open up our own movie theater. So they opened up their movie theater, and it's not doing very well. Their high hopes of making money, weren't exactly in the movie theater business. That they noticed that the only successful business in their block was a hot dog vendor. And so they decided, you know what? Let's get rid of our movie theater and invest into a restaurant. So they opened up their own drive-through restaurant called McDonald's. It was very successful. But the brothers felt that they had too many items on the menu. So they closed down this successful drive-in restaurant, reevaluated their menu, and decided to drop the items that were not being ordered as much as some of the other things, such as the burgers and the fries and the shakes. And so they decided to close up, retool their restaurant, and in 1948, they opened the first McDonald's restaurant as we know it today in San Bernardino, California. What happened after that, though, was in the process of closing and reopening, they added some innovations I was going to say renovations. Obviously, they renovated. But they added some innovations to the restaurant business that I had not seen before. So I found an article, How McDonald's Revolutionized Business, from February 2020 by Tom Harford. And it reads, this is a quote from it: "What Henry Ford had done for cars, the McDonald's brothers did for the hamburgers and french fries. They broke down the process into simple, repetitive tasks. This meant that they could churn out food quickly, cheaply, and consistently, and there was nothing else like it." And what ended up happening was that they had revolutionized the food industry by making things quick, by making things convenient. If you've seen the movie The Founder, it's a very interesting movie with Michael Keaton. It talks about how he was just so enthralled in how these brothers were doing this. So not only him, but several people from all over came to see what the brothers had created and wanted to replicate it. And several names that you may know that came by and took a tour ended up becoming successful themselves. So these names include, and again, you may have never heard these, but you're going to eventually know who they are: Keith Kramer and Matthew Burns. These two individuals came to see what the McDonald brothers had done, and they would go on to create Insta Burger King in Jacksonville, Florida. Insta Burger King was its original name. They ended up dropping the Insta, and now we know it as Burger King. Glenn Bell, a former ex-Marine, took that tour and eventually created Taco Bell, named it after himself. Carl's Jr., KFC, and many others were following that model. We're following what the McDonald's brothers had done. And Ray Kroc takes it a step further, and he does some business dealings with the McDonald's brothers and eventually takes ownership of the company and the name. And again, if you have not seen the movie The Founder, it's a great movie. So, currently the company is worth $213 billion. And according to this website, bestneighbor.org, in the state of Texas, the average distance to a McDonald's is 3.09 miles. Your next McDonald's is only 3.9 miles away from you. It's an interesting website. It's called bestneighborhood.org. So what is it about fast food? As you're sitting there, you're probably getting hungry because it's going to be 11 o'clock and it's about lunchtime. So you're probably thinking, where am I going to go for food for lunch? What restaurant am I going to go to? You have a veritable pick from Wendy's to Cane's to McDonald's to Burger King to everything at our fingertips sometimes, literally on our phones. But why? Why do we continue? We know that it is the most healthy of foods. These restaurants try to introduce healthier options. Some restaurants to much success, others not so much. I remember back in the 90s and 2000s, the whole slogan of Supersize Me. You go and it's not large, it's bigger than the large. And they would ask you, do you want to supersize that? Yeah, go ahead. But make sure it's a Diet Coke with that Big Mac and the large fries. Or should I say supersized fries? But it has to be a Diet Coke. And you have your favorite restaurants. You have your favorite. And so what I ended up doing was I wanted to take a survey as to what are people's favorite restaurant and why. I wanted to know. One, because I'm inquisitive. Two, because I was preparing for this and I just wanted to see where people go to for lunch. And so I asked the question, What is your favorite fast food and why? And so I interviewed a couple of people, and here are their responses. Again, I'm not going to give any names, but these are the responses. Okay? I'm going to say the restaurant and why they chose this. So again, I asked, what is your favorite fast food restaurant and why? Panda Express. It's a different type of Chinese food. Whataburger. Because of the healthy option of having a delicious grilled chicken sandwich. Church's Chicken. Besides the chicken, I love the mashed potatoes and the rolls. Next answer, Jack in the Box. I really like their diverse menu that offers both tacos and egg rolls. That's true. You go to Jack in the Box and you can order a teriyaki bowl, egg rolls, a burger, a chicken sandwich, and tacos. So it is pretty diverse. So yeah, I do agree with this statement. Another person said Whataburger. The burgers are big and I love the fries. Another person said Whataburger. It is filling and readily available, and I always enjoy the flavor. Raising Cane's feels homemade even though it's fast food, and their sauce is really good. Another Whataburger, because you could customize and they rarely make mistakes. Subway, and this answer was a little surprising because it had nothing to do with the sandwiches, but the person said Subway, I love the macadamia cookies. And then somebody said Chick-fil-A, I really love that chicken sandwich. So I want to talk a little bit about Chick-fil-A. Because I worked with a librarian, and she told me one time, she's like, I do not understand why Chick-fil-A is so popular. It is just a chicken sandwich. It is just a chicken sandwich. And she would always kind of bring that up, that she never understood. She's like, it's okay, it's good, but it is just a chicken sandwich. And I remember answering and telling her, it's the service. You go to Chick-fil-A, you go to the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, or you go to Chick-fil-A, and you are the star of the show there. I mean, these people with their greetings, with their thank yous, and you feel good. So I remember always telling her, it's the service. And we keep going back because of the service. Because she's right, it was only a chicken sandwich. No, it is good. But it's a chicken sandwich. And how many of us do remember that chicken sandwich war that was going on not too long ago? Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, and everybody started kind of jumping in with these different chicken sandwiches. A friend of mine said, no, it is a plot by Chick-fil-A to get us to go to their restaurant. It's a conspiracy. Well, whatever it was, I fell into it, and I did end up going to and waiting in a line at Popeyes for a chicken sandwich. Again, we continue to go because of all those different things that we talked about. It's a place to hang out, the service, the value, and all of those different reasons. We're going to take a music break, and we'll come back to finish things off. But thank you so very much for being here with us. I really appreciate your support of the show. We'll be back to close off things after the music. Everybody, we are back, and we're about to close off the show. I want to wish everybody a wonderful week. Next Thursday is already the last Thursday of the month of October, and we're already into November, then December. If you need any assistance, this is a shout out to the library and the staff at the library, who is a wonderful, wonderful staff that I work with every day. Come by and see us. You know, as we're getting ready to finish off the semester, we're getting ready to close out the term. If there's anything we can do to advance your research and support you in what it is that you're looking for and researching, come by and let us know. All right? So that's it. November, December. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much again for allowing me to be part of your morning. And if anybody's interested, my favorite fast food is Taco Bell. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye.